All right, all right, all right. Hello, 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 everyone. This is BTC King. My name is D. Duncan, and you are now watching Educate Africa on Technology ETV. And we have a great segment for you today. And we're going to be discussing some very vital things that we feel as though coming out of 2021 and going into 2022, we feel as though we need to have a family esque type discussion about what's going on in our world and what we need to do as people, as humans, to prepare for these types of things. Um, I don't. I think this is a very touchy subject because we're going to talk about money today and what is going on with the dynamics of what's happening in our society. So, without further ado, this is the topic that we're going to touch on today, and that is understanding the time and where we are and what is going on. All right. We're living in a very transitional and also transformative time in this day and time. What I mean by that is you have a lot of economic things that are happening that it takes someone such as myself to come on and break it down for my audience as to what's going on. One, two, what is the response, or how do you react appropriately to these things. Most of us have been tuned in to the news, the economic news, and in the form of inflation. We're talking about inflation in a way that we have seen the price of the cost of goods. It's things like petrol, gas, eggs, milk, vegetables, all different sorts, fruits, meats, all of your perishable goods, and even things at your local stores where you get towels, kitchen stuff. All of those price points have increased. Okay, and a lot of people are complaining about it, and we're very sensitive to that. Most people don't understand why inflation has hit the market. Well, in order to understand why that has happened, we must understand financial history. And I'm not talking about a long time ago. I'm talking about as recent as 2020. Okay. At the beginning of the pandemic outbreak, shortly thereafter, the US economy went into a downward spiral. And in order to save the US economy, the Federal Reserve Bank, that is responsible for the monetary policy of the United States of America, and also responsible for issuing money printing directives for the United States. Well, in order to understand what's going on, the Federal Reserve went on air shortly after printing about 40% of the overall money supply in, there would be 40% of the US dollars money supply in a span of 50 to 100 years. We've never seen this much money hit the U.S. economy to the tune of trillions and trillions of dollars. Just boom, 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 flooded the market to stave off the stock market from crashing, and a slew of other things as well. And because of that one decision, you see, when you inject cash of that magnitude into the system, it takes a while for the market to catch up with what happened, right? So we're in the midst of that economic event, to where now, not only in the U.S. but around the world, because the U.S. dollar is the number one currency utilized globally, has impacted everybody in the world at some level when it comes to price hikes on common goods. So in our way of life, and in most areas of the world, we've heard this mantra taught to us: save your money in a bank, keep money, for yourself, cash. Well, that was true up until I, I would just say, to keep it easy, last year, but really 10 years plus, it hasn't been true. And the reason it hasn't been true is because you're asking the world to hold on to an asset, well, a liability. Cash is a liability. I'm going to say that again. Cash is not an asset. Cash is a liability. Cash is a liability. What do I mean? A liability is something that you hold that loses value over time. It's a simple way to explain it. Just like a car. When you buy a car anywhere in the world, when you take possession of that car, especially new cars, when you take possession of that new car, as soon as you take it off the lot and take it home, the value of the car decreases. It's the same with the US dollar. The longer you hold on to the US dollar, or in my case, here in Ghana, the Ghanaian cedi, which is losing 15% of its value annually, I found that out. And you go to Nigeria and many other places here in West Africa and throughout Africa, and in some areas it's even worse than that. So the question becomes, one, is inflation, can you control it? No. Once you do something like what has been done, you cannot control it, right? Inflation eases over time. So we are in the midst of a very volatile space when it comes to economics and inflation. The news tried to tell everybody that this inflation was temporary, and we knew, myself and many others knew, that based off of what was happening, based off the economic decision that was given last year, we knew that the inflation will continue to increase. And so that is going to be a theme for the next few years until they get this inflation under control. Okay. So what is the response? What should we be looking for to protect our purchasing power, right? Our buying power. What should we be looking at so that we don't just park our money into a savings account? It's not earning any interest, right? It's not earning any interest, but it's losing value. We need a vehicle, an apparatus, a thing that allows the average African and the average human, when I say average, I mean not wealthy person, right? Didn't come from a rich family, giving them access to a vehicle by which they can thereby acquire an asset that fundamentally outpaces the rate of inflation in your country. If we are serious about changing the economic status quo in Africa, these are some of the very fundamental things that we must consider, right? Dealing in this space of economics and personal finance. Understanding when a central banker comes on and makes these types of announcements, that there will be massive repercussions. And that's what we wanted to convey to you today. So the solution or the way to counter these trying and transitory times is cryptocurrency. As much as, let me just say it this way. Us as citizens of whatever country we live in, it is very commonplace for people to want permission from the government and leadership of a country to say, okay, this is okay. Talking about crypto. Please understand how government works. When Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these different things that we use on social media nowadays first came out, the government was never behind that technology. It is when and only when that the government can figure out how to tax those companies, then and only then will they give permit their stamp of approval. It's no different with cryptocurrency. Until the government figures out a way, and it ain't hard, until the government figures out a way to collect taxes on cryptocurrency, most countries will not give a government-rated stamp of approval because they want to make money off of this stuff. But see, the government wants to do it the old way, like I just mentioned about Facebook and Instagram. They want to be able to tax it like those companies. And in reality, the government, the only thing they need to do is engage with the technology, set up the systems, the requisite systems to participate in this new digital economy by accepting cryptocurrency as legal tender in those nations, particularly here in Ghana, Nigeria, throughout West Africa, throughout Africa, right? This needs to be priority number one because the rest of the world is planning. It's going to trickle first, with these countries, these governments. We have El Salvador that has made Bitcoin legal, and we already see the benefits of that happening and how it's turned around the economic outlook for the country of El Salvador. Imagine if Ghana says, hey, we're going to make cryptocurrency legal in all of Ghana. That will have a ripple effect throughout the country of Africa. Okay, so I wanted to deal with these two topics first, and then when I come back, we'll deal with the personal solution of how we can insulate ourselves from the inflation that is upon us right now. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
CNETv, the first and leading 24/7 live broadcasting blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech TV application. On our mobile app, you have access to our latest news updates ranging from esports, fintech, iGaming, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. We bring to you interviews, analyses, cryptocurrencies, market reviews, and live events. Download our app today from your iOS or Google Play Store or on our website at cnetv.io. CNETv, objectivity.
All right, we are back. And as promised, I said that I would get involved with showing us how we can insulate ourselves from the volatility of the inflation that is setting in around the world. Right now is a perfect time, especially for the African continent and those that live in the continent of Africa, throughout Africa, to buy and acquire assets in cryptocurrency. I must say this is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed individual. I hold no securities license at all. This is purely for entertainment purposes. And make sure, please, do your own research going forward. Okay. We just had a nice size pullback, meaning correction or price change, or prices went down, right, in cryptocurrency, which gives capacity for a lot of people that say, at the levels that cryptocurrency once was, the price was too high. Well, we've had a nice dip, and it's a great time to acquire more assets, and we want to encourage asset allocations, meaning taking a liability, which is cash, and swapping it for a real digital asset that has huge, enormous upside potential. Bitcoin, Ethereum, right, are some great asset acquisition assets that you want to own and acquire. And so the price just came down, and we believe that the price will continue to rise incrementally, but definitely outpacing the rate of inflation. Okay, here in Africa, there's a trust issue, and really around the world at this point, a trust issue with currency, with cash, right, and having the ability to have ownership in your own digital value is the message that we want to drive home here on our TV show. Ownership of property, right? Digital property is the number one urgency financially for anybody that's watching this show, anyone that's listening. To own your own value, your own purchasing power outside the scope of government, and not being forced to just hold on to a local cash currency, but actually having alternatives to acquire digital assets that have it's a deflationary asset, meaning as more people buy the coin, there's less coin available, which reduces the supply, which thereby positively affects the price, meaning the price will go up because the supply is decreasing. That's what deflationary means. Okay, so acquiring these assets over the long term, and when I say long term, 10 years or more, if you're constantly acquiring on a weekly basis, right? Small amounts on a weekly basis. Whatever your budget is, you say, okay, I'm going to have this amount of X amount of currency allocated to buying and acquiring digital assets. Every week, I'm just making small purchases. Every week, I'm just making $50 purchases $50 equivalent in your currency purchases of these assets. Over time, 2 to 3 years, you'll find that you've acquired a decent amount of digital assets that gives you the ability to begin to make moves as if you were your own financial institution, right? And so we definitely want to encourage a very high level of overstanding of financial literacy, financial education, and how to move and move around and develop in this space effectively so that you can participate in the next digital revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, which is digital technology. All right. This is very important to us to get this message out to you guys and to let you know the importance of what time we are in, uh, with COVID and economic downturns. We have China now having issues with Evergreen, which is an asset based real estate company, and they're not able to pay their obligations. And so they're on the cusp of a default. And if they do default, it will have global ramifications for that company defaulting. And China, the government, is doing everything in its power to keep them afloat. So it's very important. Why? Because Evergreen is one of the largest real estate firms in the world. And so, if not managed properly, that one event from Evergreen could kick off a global crisis in the housing market, in all markets around the world, dealing with housing, single family housing, and also commercial real estate in the form of apartment complexes. So we all know that there needs to be a price correction in the stock market and in the real estate market because prices are simply at a place of where they're just unsustainable. And so there needs to be a huge market correction on both fronts, both in the stock market and in the housing community, in the housing market, to price itself down, right? Again, the raft or the arc of safety will be digital assets, right? Because banks are not able to produce enough yield to attract new money cash flows or investments from the private sector or individuals like yourself. The worst place that we could park money at this moment is inside of a bank in the form of a savings account or some future retirement account, simply because all of they're doing what we should be doing as individuals. They'll take the cash on, but the cash doesn't stay there. They immediately go out and lend that money out and make money off of it instead of it just being there um, in the bank account. So the money will be available once you go and you need access to it. But for most part, that money is out being lended out 9 to 10 times the value that you put in. And that's the mentality. We need the same mentality that the banks have with our own money. As soon as we get cash coming in, we need to have a place where we can go and have it being working for us while we continue to do our daily living, while we continue to do um, what we do and have money working for us instead of money just being parked in a savings account and the bank making all the money off of us. So, with that said, um, that is the show for today. What we wanted to do is give you an example of how does digital currencies impact real world society. And so the latter part of this show, I want to give you an example of how we do that. And give me 1 second and I'm going to share my screen here. so that you can see firsthand that we want to answer the tough question. Is cryptocurrency real? Is it something that can be utilized in the real world? How can it impact life on, in a positive way? What can you do with cryptocurrencies, right? Well, I want to show you this video and then I'll answer those questions after this video. You see this video. So one moment. Share my screen. Okay. And this is nursery number one. All of this lettuce went into the farm. No more manual watering the farm. All right, all right. So, what we have done here on ETV, with the help of some of my partners here in Ghana, is we have acquired a farm here in Ghana utilizing digital assets. So yes, cryptocurrency is real. Yes, you can have positive impact utilizing the assets to create jobs, to stimulate local economy, to acquire land, just like we did with the farm. It's a 2-acre project here in the greater Accra area, and we're going to be looking for more land in that area to acquire utilizing cryptocurrency. Right? Our goal here is to have a huge impact on the economic outlook for Ghana, and utilizing digital assets to show that it's possible to make huge economic changes in a country utilizing this powerful technology, right? We're creating jobs. We're creating employment for people. We're providing a much needed service in the form of farming. We're producing a quality product that will go into the marketplace and help the local society thrive, right? So yes, we can use these assets to make positive change, right? The first step is acquisition, digital asset acquisition, and acquiring them, and utilizing those acquisition strategies small, buying every week. You look back in 1 or 2 years, but by just being disciplined and staying consistent with that model, you'll be able to make moves like that. Ultimately, being able to buy commercial property, single family property, even other businesses, and improving the quality of life, creating jobs, stimulating the economy in a positive way. This is what we are about. This is what BTC King is about. This is what ETV is about, to demonstrate the power of technology that has economic change. So that's what we wanted to share today. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. It's been great presenting this information to you today. Apologies for the sporadic shows, but as you can see, we're dealing with a farm, so that takes a little bit of time to get acclimated to. But I think we got our groove of how to produce the show in the midst of all of this other activity that we have going on. So this it's been great to see all of you today, and stay tuned for another show before the end of the year. Um, of ETV. And thank you again to CNETv for having us. And we'll see you on the next broadcast. Peace and love, everybody.